Ready to get the inside scoop on equity funding? Tune into TDJ Equity Funding Insiders Podcast for an in-depth look at what it takes to access financial capital and maximize your investments. Hear from experienced professionals, including bankers, underwriters, loan officers, and industry experts as they share their unfiltered stories and valuable lessons on securing funds.
Welcome to another insightful episode of our Funding Podcast. Today, we're diving deep into a critical intersection of cybersecurity and business. With cyber threats on the rise, it's imperative for business owners to fortify their defenses and be prepared before disaster strikes. Joining us for this enlightening discussion is a seasoned cybersecurity expert who will unravel the steps every business must take to safeguard their assets and operations. So get ready to arm yourself with invaluable knowledge that could save your business from potential cyber threats. We want to welcome Peter Gailey. Gailey is with Gailey Solutions that is here in Texas.
Yep.
And we want to welcome him to our show. So if you would, we want to thank you. Can you give us a little bit of background on you to start off with?
First of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Gailey Solutions. I'm Peter Gailey. I've been in the high-tech world for 47 years, although I know I don't look like it. 47 years, and I've done many different things in the industry. I've been in cybersecurity for about 10 years.
10 years, okay.
So what I've done is created a company, and what we do is we help people understand cybersecurity. We help them build a programmatic approach, a program approach.
Okay.
So cybersecurity, as we've talked, is not that hard to figure out. It really isn't. It's very hard to implement.
Wow.
So as we are on a journey together, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a scenario with cybersecurity. There's a lot of nuances to it. And the company I run, Gailey Solutions, is an advisory firm, a consulting firm, and we help people understand what the requirements are. We provide a baseline assessment to help them understand where they are currently, and then we help with a program approach to help them reduce their risk, and in many cases meet compliance mandates. Certain industries, you have compliance. So that's what we do.
Okay, that is great.
Gailey Solutions.
Gailey Solutions. So we will give you information on him where you guys can reach out and contact him as well directly. But in the meantime, what we want to do is let's start off this way of asking a question. Can you give us like maybe a challenging event you may had in the field dealing with cyber security?
Breaches, yeah, we've talked to a bunch of breaches. In your introduction, you talked about before, during, and after.
Uh-huh.
Okay, a lot of people just kind of ignore cybersecurity and just deal with the after, which would be a ransomware event or a breach, or you're losing data, or an account that I have was a healthcare company that was providing fabulous services for. Let's say, learning challenged kids. Mm-hmm. And she had a disgruntled employee that walked out the door with her database of all of her clients and then started emailing the clients, right? And just vindictive, nasty things, right. Which hurt her business. Number one, it hurt her business, so it's reputational damage. Yeah. Number two, it was HIPAA breaches. Right, she had personal information. She walked out with personal identifiable information of this company's clients, right, and then was communicating with them. So that breaks every rule in the book. She had, she called the police. She got the police involved. They'd cease and desist order. I mean, all that stuff. So it was a mess.
So let me ask you this, just based on what you're saying. So
if she one account, one instance, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. With that one account, one instance. But if she would have had cybersecurity in place, that would be something. What would have been in place, and what would have happened?
She could have done some things to lessen her risk.
Okay.
A disgruntled employee is one of the biggest risks that people have, that companies have. So you can put things in place. There's a principle called the principle of limited access.
Okay.
Right. So what you want to do is, to get into some detail, there are some things you can do to create a profile of an employee.
Okay.
And, you don't want everybody, as a small or medium sized or large business, you don't want to have everybody have access to the checkbook, right?
Right.
Okay. So it's a principle of least privileges is what it's called. So you set up a profile. Hey, the person in finance, the executive in charge of the company and finance, they're the only people that have privileges
To everything.
to get to the financials.
Oh, gotcha.
You don't want to have a dock worker shipping, receiving, get access to everybody's HR records.
Right.
So one of the things that she could have done was set up a principle of least access, if you will, and just it would have only limited this disgruntled employee to have the information of the account of the people that she touched, not everybody.
Not everybody.
So a subset of the universe, if you will, right? So she had privileges for, 5 or 6 different students and their parents and their social security numbers and all that stuff. So she'd probably be able to get out with that, but not the hundreds of other students. Information and stuff.
So you're basically saying, which is a good idea, with cybersecurity. And let me say that because you and I
That's
had
just
this
one
talk
of the
before.
things that
That's what I was
you
going to say.
could-
Let me go back because you and I have talked about so much stuff that we believe IT technology would have taken care of that. But listening to you,
No.
it wouldn't. So we need to not only, you say you need, it makes sense. You only give information or give people access to what they only need to see.
Privileged. Yeah.
Okay. But we still need to have, it's not your IT guy, it's your security. What is that? Like
No, it's a team.
It's a team.
In that scenario,
Right.
it would be a team.
Okay.
It would be HR or whoever's,
Gotcha.
whoever's going to onboard the person. You should have an onboarding process.
Right.
Hey, this is what they do. This is what their job is. This is what they should be able to see. And this is what they shouldn't be able to see. Okay. And the IT guy may have tools or services that he says, okay, here's how we're going to implement that. And then here's how we're going to prove that we implement that.
But we need to have that cybersecurity officer.
Maybe not. Just, some awareness that you want privilege. The only people that you want privileges to have access to that data are just those people. You don't want everybody to have access.
So my thing is, though, I'm asking you, how do
It could be done with no IT. It could be, the least privileges. I'm a small company. I got 25 people in the company. I have myself and my treasurer, my controller, whatever. VP of finance. We are the only 2 people that have access to that signature. That in the checkbook with the ledger, boom, and it's locked up in a vault or in somebody's desk.
Well, let me ask you this: can you help somebody like that that needs to set it up? They're not like say 25 people's DMs, a couple other people.
Yeah.
Can you help them to develop that right team for that business?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. That's important with us. We think that, and I have seen it. I've been in meetings
That's
before.
common
I met you
sense.
guys.
That's common sense. Who do you want to have access to the checkbook?
Right.
The president, CEO, VP of finance, maybe accounts payable. That's it.
So if we just you saying you can set that up yourself just to even start with that.
And it's got nothing to do with cybersecurity.
Gotcha. Just
That's
do that at
security,
least.
right?
Gotcha.
It just happens to be in bigger companies. We use software to implement this stuff. Right.
Okay,
So
that's
you
right.
so you got to, as you would have your privileges, the 3 people that, president, VP of finance and the accounts payable person, you would do it digitally where they could, do money transfers and all that.
And all that as
So you have, it's called controls, right? You have to control your environment and there are specific controls for that.
And I'm thinking we're gonna go a little deeper, but I did want to mention this. When you were speaking on it, it made me think about. I have a client that I know, their front desk person kind of did everything because they're like her assistant. She said, but she can't. You shouldn't have her do everything.
Well, it depends. It depends on the company and the environment and the competence of the person. The smaller the company, the more tasks that everybody has.
But we still need to have a plan, though, no matter how small.
Well,
we
you
are.
need to have, you need to have control.
Control. Yes, that's not plan. You call it control.
Yeah.
That's right. They need to have controls
Yeah.
in place.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. So let me
So
ask
if you
you.
had a receptionist, they could be doing phones, they could be doing scheduling, they could be doing buying, they could be doing payables,
Okay.
invoicing, right? And, it depends on.
But
what
we
the
still
requirements
need to have controls with all of that, is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. And the
You
bigger
should.
you get, like you said, the bigger companies will start dealing with the software type controls, right? They come in for the bigger companies, is that what you're saying,
Yeah.
compared to us? So
Well,
basically,
yeah.
on that. So basically just the controls we need to have in place.
It's all
starting
about
off.
controls. Cybersecurity is all about controls. Let me take it a different way.
Okay.
Oops, sorry.
That's fine.
She said don't tap on the table.
That's fine.
Cybersecurity and security,
Okay.
physical security, is all about people, process, technology, and data. It's ultimately all about your data, your information. Okay. So you want to have policies, procedures, whether they're written or not, hey, these are the only 3 people that have access to the general ledger system and the checkbook. That's a policy. Okay. Whether you write it down or not, you should, right?
Right.
Because if the CEO gets hit by a truck,
That's right. Well, then
who
we don't
knows?
have to write, we don't know.
Let's keep going, right? Let's keep the business going, right? So people and process, technology, because you're using software tools and stuff like that. You're using, QuickBooks and spreadsheets and CRM systems and billing systems.
Right.
All of those. Who has access to those? What level of privileges do they have? It's all. Again, it's not that hard. It's common sense. It's not that hard to figure out, but it's pretty hard to implement. And it's all about your data. It's all about protecting data.
Okay, so then let me ask you this. So you're basically, what would be your advice that you would say for the small business that's looking to enhance their cybersecurity with limited budget? I think something that you kind of mentioned. What would you recommend how that works?
There are some things from a cyber perspective. Now, cyber generally means digital.
Okay.
Right, the stuff you're using, hardware, software, digital programs,
Okay.
Data within those kinds of systems. Highest priority is protect your data. Okay, so there are ways to do that. There are several ways to do that. The first thing that I suggest is you take and you execute what's called, and this has been around since the 50s, since the 1950s. IBM mainframes did this at the beginning, okay? It's called HSM, Hierarchical Storage Management. You should have a minimum of 3 copies of your data, and here's why, okay? So I'm not going to hit my fingernails on the table here,
Right.
but I'm banging away on my system, and I'm doing emails, and I'm doing spreadsheets and all that stuff, whether it's on a notebook, whether I'm in the office, whether I'm at home, whatever, okay? I have local data. And it's dynamic, it's changing because I'm sending emails and stuff like that. Periodically, the more frequently, the better. You want to back that up. Because if I leave my notebook in my car, if I leave it on an airplane, if my kid's using it and crashes it, if something happens, oh my.
Right.
Then I've lost a whole bunch of stuff. And I may not even know what I lost. Right. So all your files are so periodically, depending on the size of your business, it's very inexpensive. It's a very expensive insurance policy. Back up your data.
Now, when you say backup, should we back up like in the cloud storages?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
So you should have a minimum of 3 copies.
Okay.
And here's one. The one is the level 1. Think of a hierarchy. Okay. Level 1 in a hierarchy of storage management is your active data that you're banging on and changing. Level 2 is a local copy of a backup. Think of going to Amazon, buying that 5 gigabyte add-on drive for $100, okay, or 5 terabyte drive for $100, right? Buy 2 of those, okay? So you take one and you back up your systems. So you back up your notebook, you back up your servers, whatever. Okay, that's level 2. Okay. And then you take another disk and you back it up again. So you have 2 copies of the same, you have 3 copies of the same disk. You have the one that you're banging on, that you're changing. You got a local copy, and take that 3rd copy and do what's called an air gap. So you take that 3rd copy and you take it home, You put it in a safety deposit box. You put it in a drawer at grandma's house. You put it someplace away. Okay? We have tornadoes. We have floods. We have buildings that burn down.
Right.
So I'm sitting here in my business and I'm chugging along, and the creek rises. Okay? And I'm flooded. So I've lost my primary data.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Building burns down, tornado comes through town. I've lost, kid
Right.
barfs on it, whatever, right? I've lost my first level data. I can back it up with my second level data because it's local, because I have it in a closet or in a drawer, or locked drawer, okay? But if the creek rises and the place floods out and that second version gets
Which
ruined,
was there, right?
okay, on premises, you want to have that third copy remote. That low probability my kid's going to barf on that third copy.
Right.
Or the creek rises or the building. Okay. So 3 levels. And then you take the process is then you take that, periodically you back everything once a quarter, once a month, once a week.
Okay.
Some people, in big enterprises, they back up every day. They back up every half hour because they don't want to lose the transactions, the billings and stuff like that. So HSM, so that third layer is really secure. It's offsite. It's called air-gapped. So it's not plugged into any network or anything, right? And you said it before, a different copy of that might be online. Mm-hmm. Okay, it might be at a storage service, or it might be at Google, or you're going to have it at Microsoft in Azure,
or Dropbox or something like that.
that. Those are all different versions of probably level 2 or level 3.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, make a lot of sense.
So the best, easiest, cheapest, fastest thing I can tell you to protect your business is execute data backup, and do it religiously. Have a policy that says I'm going to do this every so often. I'm going to do this once a month. Have a procedure that says here's how I'm going to do it, and then follow it.
And then follow it.
That's the best piece of advice I can give you to save your business. And oh, by the way, thank me later.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You ever had your spouse have a system crash? They didn't have everything backed up? You want to talk about mayhem. Okay, Think about that in your business.
At TDJ Equity Funding, we understand the challenges you face. Whether you're expanding your business, investing in real estate, or launching a startup, we've got your back. Our expert team of loan brokers is dedicated to helping you secure the funding you need, hassle-free. Imagine a future where your business thrives, where opportunities are endless and working capital has made a great difference in your business. TDJ Equity Funding can make it happen. Booking an appointment with us is easy as pie. Just visit our website at www.tdjequityllc.net and take the first step towards your financial success. Don't let your dreams gather dust on the shelf. Seize the opportunity today. Visit www.tdjequityllc.net and schedule your appointment with TDJ Equity Funding. Let's turn your dreams into dollars.
Welcome to Frameworks Consortium, your partner for sustainable business success. Frameworks Consortium is your strategic guide, providing you with clear, actionable roadmaps to achieve your business goals. Our team of seasoned strategists provides expert guidance, ensuring you make informed decisions with clarity and confidence. We develop customized solutions that align with your unique business objectives, fostering growth and resilience in an ever-changing business environment. Connect with us today and harness the power of strategic planning for your business.
You said cybersecurity is digital.
Think of digital.
It's more of think of it as digital, because I mean, that's
well, there's physical security stuff too.
That you have to do.
Lock the doors and windows.
Right.
Right? But this is a way that you lock in the doors and the windows in the digital world.
Right,
that's what cybersecurity is.
And that's what it is. And so many times we start business and don't even think like that we need to lock it, from that point. That's why I think it's so important for you to be on the show. And also I want to emphasize to our listeners that, Peter is available. His company is available.
Yeah.
So you all can reach out to him, like I said, on our website. Definitely you can go and connect with him and let him go over what he has that he can help you, because the big thing is not knowing what all you do. Now, with that said, I do want to ask about, the bigger companies, how do they deal with their security? But I also want to ask, we have some questions that were submitted.
Yeah.
What is some of the best practice for securing remote work environments and protecting sensitive data?
Okay, same thing. Number one, back up your data. Okay, so when you say bigger company, that is a subjective term.
Okay.
Okay, so you, Jackie, have got how many employees, whatever, and some of them you're working out of their houses, some of those are remote workers. Okay, so how critical is that data? It's the same. The HSM strategy is the same whether you're a one-person shop or a 350,000 person shop. It's the exact same. Again, IBM kicked that in the right out of the chute in the 50s in the mainframe business, and it's been executed religiously ever since. Okay, that's the big one. The other thing is there's a software tool that's called, and we all have it, right? Mm-hmm. It's called multi-factor authentication. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's say on your iPhone or on your Android, you have set up multi-factor authentication, and it's it'll ask you, do you want to secure your phone? And it says, okay, the way to do that is whenever you go to log into an application or some data, that application will send, let's sign in again, or let me send you a 5-digit code. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I know you're going to ask me that, but it's what you know. It's what's in the system. So if you pull something up and it comes right up, it's like what you know, what you can get to. Right. The second layer is they ask you something that's not that obvious that you need to know. Mm-hmm. Okay, and that might be your password. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the third thing is that third party sending you back, here's a 5-digit code. Okay. So what do you know? Right? What's the system know? What do you need to know? So I need to know what my 5-digit password, what my password is, and then the last is that it's going to be a digital token to do that as well.
To do that, right?
Okay, so that's multi-factor authentication. So you're at home, you're working on your notebook and stuff like that. You're tapping into your systems, and you want to make sure that it's Jackie that's tapping in instead of your kid tapping in, right?
Right.
There's somebody that's hijacked your session on your notebook, right? They're going to ask you want to have it set up that there's multi-factor authentication so that they can't get in. If you can't answer your password, you're not getting in. If they send that 5-digit code to your phone where you told them to send it,
right?
But that's not you, so they're sending it to you on your phone, but not the person that's fiddling with your system.
Exactly.
Multi-factor authentication.
So we need to do, now I'm going to say this, I know, and I do have questions, because I have a home health and I have a hospice that actually I told them we were doing this show, and they were really inquiring about it because they have did theirs with their IT, but they said, knowing it's something else, they definitely watch. But so I want to ask this question because they had made a big thing about it. So they said that beyond the traditional cybersecurity measures like firewalls, antivirus softwares, this emerging technology, or approaches, what do you believe will play a key role in enhancing the cybersecurity defense in the future?
Training,
but
training is big.
Okay.
One of the biggest, you've all heard of ransom attacks and phishing and all that kind of stuff. What a ransom attack is somebody breaking into your system, doing mischief, whatever it is. They could extort you, ransom you, and say, hey, give me money to get, I'm going to encrypt everything. You're not going to be able to read it. You're not going to be able to get to it until and unless you pay me.
I've seen
something.
That.
They're ransoming you.
Okay.
So if you have an HSM strategy, you don't care because you wipe your systems, you reload your data, you're off to the races. Thank you very much. Okay. If you don't, then you are vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, you might have to pay that ransom.
Right.
Or not. Right. So ransomware is still very, very big.
That's happening around here, and
it's grown. I just read something yesterday that it grew 75. It's really bad, but it grew 75. The number of incidents grew 75% last year.
Wow,
big time. Okay, it's not going away. It's not going away. The bad guys are winning.
I know, and that's
Bad guys are
understandable.
winning.
It's
Whenever
happening.
somebody pays that ransom, that's funding the bad guys.
People paying the ransom.
Yeah. Well, some people that don't have a cybersecurity strategy have no choice.
Yeah, because they got them.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So you do the simple HSM. That's a building block.
Wow.
Boom. Okay, so we talked about this. The story about the professor that goes in and he's got a big beaker and he puts a bunch of big rocks. Is that full? And the students say yes. No, he puts a bunch of, smaller rocks in. Gives it a shake. Is that full? Yeah. No. Brings in pebbles. Shakes it. Is that full? And then they're like, okay. And then sand. Okay. And then water. Okay. So you're building. So if you don't have the big rocks down in cybersecurity,
right,
you're done. So there's like 10 things to do that you have to do in order to just do baseline, and that HSM, protecting your data, is.
And that's what it's protecting your data, putting controls in place.
Data back up everything, that identity access management that we talked about, training, have people understand when somebody's trying to, spoof them.
Right.
Right. And there's different training programs, very inexpensive, some free.
Okay, and that's what I want to talk to you
Those are
about.
the big rocks.
The training, because
Yeah.
that's what they asked too. So what topics or methods do you recommend that's effective for employee training programs?
There's all kinds of training out there. There's all kinds of paid for, free and training programs. So for small businesses, I'd go online and do a Google search, right, in your Google search bar, free cybersecurity training. Boom.
Wow.
They'll
It's
give you
not even free. We just need to.
You just need to do it.
Oh my goodness.
And then so you put we haven't really talked about this yet, but I'm all about programmatic approaches.
Okay.
Let's set up a program. So the list of questions that we have here are all one-off. What you said, firewall.
Right.
Training, HSM. Those are all projects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you're talking cybersecurity, I call it whack-a-mole. Don't do whack-a-mole and just do project, helter-skelter, just whatever, right?
Okay.
Have a program, put a program together and say, here are the 500 things that I got to do. Mm-hmm. And here's the big rocks, and then here's the little rocks. And each one of those is a project. So let's put together what we need to do. What's cheap? What's fast? How quickly should we get to it? And how much return am I going to get on that effort? Okay, you got to do the big rocks first, period, if you're going to be serious about cybersecurity. And then after that, then you start doing the little rocks. And each one of those is a project. Multi-factor authentication, identity access management, right? These are all the other, those are kind of the second big rocks, but, more not the huge rocks, but those are things that you should definitely be concerned with. So one of the things I do, frankly, is I'll go into a company and we'll do a baseline assessment. And I can literally tell you how, and this is for everybody, not this is a giveaway.
Okay.
Okay. I can tell you how mature your cybersecurity program is by asking you one question. Jackie, show me an inventory of all of your assets, all your hardware, all your systems, all your software that you're using, and your network access. Hand me an inventory of your assets. Okay? And if you say, right, I can't do that, then we go back to, you have physical security locking the doors and windows and the cybersecurity stuff. If you don't even know you have a window,
right,
then you are not secure at all.
I love how you start that. Let's start with the doors and the windows. I can get you to do that. We can work it on.
Lock the doors and windows. Those are the big rocks.
You're right.
Okay? And then if you can't even tell me that I did give a notebook to that contract guy. I never got it back. Right?
Right.
And I did give somebody access to I just moved
My
somebody.
email list.
No, I just moved somebody from, they were in accounts payable and I just moved them to marketing. But they still have access to all the accounts payable stuff. No. Different profile.
Right.
Get into HR and say, change them from a A to B. Give them only privileges that they need in that B.
Right. That is great.
Doors and windows.
Exactly.
Okay?
And that's like, now, before we end, I
So
want
that's
to ask.
the one. I'm going to quiz you at the end of the show and ask you what's the one.
Doors and windows.
What's the one question that I can tell you how mature you are? Right?
Gotcha. Okay, this is what I want to do. Now, I know we talk a lot, so we've talked about this, but this is something I didn't tell you we were going to ask, but since we did talk about it, I think it's safe to ask. Let's talk about the future
Yeah.
of cybersecurity. And this may be a big question, but I think you can kind of break it down a little.
Yeah.
Maybe? Okay.
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
How do you feel how AI in cybersecurity? What's your opinion of that?
Okay. Everybody has heard the term AI. Or if you haven't, you're living under a rock. AI is what's called artificial intelligence. So with what is happening in the world of programming is there's been a new development that's called a large language model. Okay. So I've got a story, and you might have to circle me back because I'll go down a rat hole on this, but I was working on a deal at, I don't want to say who they were,
but you was working on a deal.
Very, 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 very large medical research entity in Houston that was working on cancer research. That should narrow it down pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay. And they were trying to figure out, okay, how do we secure the intellectual property of when we cure a form of cancer, when we come up with a protocol and cure melanoma or something, that's going to be a gazillion-dollar business. It's going to be very, very profitable for somebody. So how do we secure the digital rights and make sure that the people that found this cure get credit for it? Okay, and receive the rewards, financial and accreditations and that kind of stuff. So it was a mess. So one of the things that they did was IBM, this is like 10 years ago, IBM came out with a mega, big computer called Watson. Okay. Kind of a mainframe size, big machine, Watson. Wasn't a mainframe, it was its own architecture. And they said, okay, so my oncologist at this place in Houston, they can only absorb so much data. So I can only read, as an oncologist, I have my practice, and I can only read like 100 white papers a year, maybe, to keep educated in what's happening and stuff. But what IBM did was they built this Watson enterprise where they had a bunch of them plugged together, and they took every white paper that has ever been published and they put it into a database, and it's all searchable and all that stuff. So it is a central repository of knowledge for cancer research. So what worked, what didn't, hypotheses that did work, that didn't, can we learn from this, and relative and all that kind of stuff. So artificial intelligence now with that large language model has the ability to query that huge pool of knowledge light years faster than that one oncologist that can only read 100 papers.
Right.
Okay. So that's the upside. That's one of the upsides. And there was a guy named Alvin Toffler that wrote a book in the 70s called The Third Wave. The first wave, it's a book that I highly recommend everybody read. It's a book, the first wave was the agricultural revolution that took about 3,000 years. Planting, agriculture. The second wave was the Industrial Revolution. Looms and knitting and spooling and making threads and all that stuff, and started to build machines for mass production and stuff like that. The Industrial Revolution. The third revolution was the computing revolution, or the data revolution. And the Industrial Revolution is about 300 years. The data and the computing revolution, we're still in the middle of it, it's about 75 years old. Okay, maybe arguably 100 years old.
Okay.
Right. The next wave, that's Alvin Toffler, the third wave.
Third wave. Okay.
The next wave is artificial intelligence, and we are right on the cusp of a huge evolution and revolution in thought and in practice. And my prediction, absolutely, the fourth wave is the artificial intelligence world. And it's going to affect every person on the planet. It's going to affect every industry on the planet, every job on the planet. We are right on the cusp of a major, major set of developments. It's going to change everything, literally. In the cybersecurity world, okay, it's going to be used for good, and it's also going to be used for bad. Okay, so let me give you an example, and I talked about it a little earlier today.
Okay.
I don't want to go dark. I don't want to go negative. But they're called tools and services. They are so powerful that they can be used for misbehavior. And there are instances that some of these major, major breaches that we've seen that have affected institutions and governments. And we talked a little bit about deep fakes earlier today,
Right.
Where they're impersonating people kind of thing. That's all here, and it's all now. And it's all driven by artificial intelligence. Most of it's driven by artificial intelligence.
Wow.
So it's a very scary frontier. So you can have 4 or 5 people that knit together some of these tools and let it loose in the wild. And
Right.
Yikes. Okay, I don't want to go dark or negative on this, but everybody should be aware. So what do you do to protect yourself
That's what I was going to say
from a
next.
cybersecurity perspective? Come on,
Call you.
protect your data.
Protect your data. That's right. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Lock the doors.
Lock
That's
the doors
right.
and
Close the windows. Doors and windows. That's correct.
Policies, procedures, okay?
Right.
Disaster incident response. What the heck do I, get in front of it.
Right. Get in front of it. That
Okay?
is so true.
And somebody's, it's not if, it's when. And that's an overused term, but it's true. So you have one of the big rocks in the scenario is called an incident response plan. Get in front of it. Just spend a half a day and just
putting it
say,
in
what
together.
the heck if this happened, what the hell would we do?
Exactly.
Okay. And you take all your executives, you want to have your marketing person there because they're going to be communicating with the press.
So our management
with
needs
your
to be
clients.
involved. That's your
It's
team.
a team.
You're right. It's a team.
People, process, technology. The technology is that air gap
Gotcha.
copy. The process is that technology person taking that air gap, killing all the, flushing all the systems out, rebooting them, reloading them. Here we're going to do it with that old data, but it's better than nothing. Okay.
Right.
That's people and process and technology.
And
Okay.
technology.
So it's all about people, process, technology. That's a long-winded answer, but again, that's what's coming, and it's all automated. It's scary what's happening in the.
And like you saying, we just gonna have to get in front of it.
You just get in front of it, yeah.
That's basically what that is. And I like the suggestion that you gave us. Like I said, YouTube, they go on and try to find that to start off. And then if you see, you done picked up a little knowledge, I'm going to recommend, I know he made it, but I am, that you reach out to Peter. Because
Yeah.
I'd rather you be safe than sorry. And I think it's a lot of things happening so much with us being business owners. Our heads are down and we're working in our business and we're working on our business. But for some reason, cybersecurity is pushed to the side.
You know what I call it? You're going to love this. And again, I don't mean to be a jerk. I call it adult supervision. This is this stuff is so.
It is. You are right.
Not hard to understand, but it's hard to implement. Okay, so I can tell you about each one of these whack-a-mole projects and items and stuff that you need to do, and there are hundreds.
Right.
Okay, so just bring in somebody like me or a virtual chief information security officer, and we do contracts on an hourly basis, so you don't need to hire us.
Right.
Just bring us in as a consultant. It's called a virtual CISO.
Okay.
And a couple $1,000 a month or something, and whatever level of effort you need. So if I go in there and you can't give me an inventory, you need help.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and I'm going to say, here are the big rocks. Here's what you need to do, and I can help you do it, or you can do it yourself. I don't care. You just need to do it.
Do it right. Oh wow, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I really am, and I think it's not as let's say this. It ain't expensive you think, because let me tell you something. You think paying something to get it done, try not to pay nothing to get done.
And your business shuts up. There's a the numbers change every year, but it's like 60%. The last number I heard was 60% of small medium-sized businesses are put out of business after a hack in the first year. First year, you're out of business.
See,
and that to me is just chilling, and it's preventable.
Exactly. And we just so that's why we're trying to bring it to the attention, because I think it's not us purposely trying not to. It's just having been brought to the forefront as business owners. Hey, add this along with your CPA and your attorney,
your lawyer,
and your that's what I'm saying, your bank officer and your cybersecurity. Where is that?
Absolutely right. Oh. Yeah, it's another advisor that you should bring in, and if you're depending on the size of the companies in this audience, if you're big enough that you can afford that resource inside, it should be a priority.
To do it. And you guys can help them with getting somebody inside training and all that as well. Yeah. That's what I think is be a big thing for.
Well, you do a roadmap. Remember, you do a baseline, and then you do your plan of action and milestones, right?
And then kind of go from
there. And you
there.
Just go and execute a programmatic approach. And, half a year down the road, depending on the size of your company, what your budgets are and stuff like that. Why are we paying this external guy when we should probably hire some guy and have him on the payroll?
Right, and have them can do.
And that's fine. Yeah. Right. So it's reduce your risk, and if you have compliance requirements depending on the industry that you're in, then what a CISO will do, or what somebody like I'll do, is come in and put a program together for you to help you.
They help you
do that. Reduce risk, meet compliance.
And that's what we need. Well, I do appreciate that, because that's definitely what we need, and I do thank you for coming. First of all, so for enjoying you for being here, and we definitely want to have you to come back on the show sometime later. Okay?
I've enjoyed it. I hope I didn't just go crazy.
You did. So let's talk about our takeaways. I want to make sure you guys that the takeaways from our show today was preparedness is the key. Business owners must be proactive, preparing for cyber threats rather than reactive, responding after an accident occurred. Understanding the threat landscape and implementing the robust security measures that's in place. I hope you guys have gained some information. Again, we thank our guests for being with us today. And if you all have any questions, you can go and log on to our website at tdjequityllc.net. You all, again, thank you and take care.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of TDJ Equity Funding Insiders Podcast. If you'd like to be a guest or get in touch with us, please visit our website at tdjequityllc.net/podcast or email us at podcast@tdjequityfundinginsiders.net. Until next time, take care.